Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, Stephanie's Larlin. I'm Stephanie and welcome back to another wrap up. This is my August wrap up. I'm sorry it's kind of late, it is September 12th, but we move. And also I'm sorry if the lighting is like all over the place, but it's 7 o'clock at night. So we're working with it here. This is a late kind of video for a monthly wrap up, but I'm actually back to school and it's been taking up most of my time and energy. So I'm sorry if I'm a little inconsistent, but anyways, let's get into the books I read last month. As usual, I'm using StoryGraph on my iPad to keep track because God knows I don't know half these books and what I rated them, so I need this to remind me. So I actually started off the month finishing or continuing my reread of the All for the Game series books. So The Raven King, which is the second book, and The King's Men, which is the third book in the series, and I actually finished these pretty early into the month and of course gave them both 5 stars. I'm not really going to talk about them much because I talk about these books like I feel like all the time. So if you want to know more about them, I'm pretty sure I've mentioned them in my other videos, but these were kind of just comfort reads for me. I love them so much, and I also annotated more. That looks a bit like insanity, I won't lie. So I annotated a bit more, clearly, and I also, these are like sticky tabs, because not even sticky tabs, whatever they're called, post-its. Can I speak? Because I wanted to actually, in my whatever number reread this was, I wanted to write down the translations for when all the characters speak different languages. So a lot of the characters speak German and French in these books, so I wanted to take note of them and write in the translations because I'm actually learning German in school, so it's kind of helpful for me. Anyways, you really don't care. That information is not needed, but yeah, it started off great because they're 5 stars, obviously. Okay, and then the next book I read was another 5-star book, and I read this in my reading TikTok or book talk recommendations video. If you want to go watch that, I'll link it up in the cards or down below, but that was a really fun video and I found this book, and if you want to see me react to it like live and also hear more in-depth thoughts, go watch that video. But it's The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I also gave this book 5 stars, which I'm pretty sure I just said a second ago. But I love this book so much. It's actually my whole heart now, like one of my favorite books of all time. Evelyn Hugo owns my heart. But if you want to hear me talk about it more and cry about it, I'm pretty sure I cried about it in that video, go watch that video. Oh, I'm so going out of order here. See, this is why I need StoryGraph, because I was just like, oh no, I'm grand, I'll just go by my pile, but I forgot I read 12 books and I only have 10 books physically, I think. So let me backtrack a bit. Before I read The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, I actually read another book, which was also in my TikTok recommendations video. This book I actually rated 2 stars, and that's Serpent and Dove by Shelby Mahurin. And yeah, go watch that video if you want to hear my thoughts as well, but I didn't vibe with it. It wasn't the book for me. And then I read The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. This book I read was actually a 4-star read book, and I really loved this book as well. It was phenomenal. And I also cried when I read it, I'm pretty sure. That was Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin Alleray Sanes, I think. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that name. But yeah, I think I mentioned this in another video of mine as well before. I honestly can't remember, but this book was phenomenal. And although it has a quite unique writing style, after I kind of got into it, I really started vibing with it and I really loved it. And it's just a beautiful story. Stunning. I was like quite emo when I read this. Like it actually made me really sad. I still really enjoyed it. And at the end, it made me happy. So that's the main thing. But yeah, I kind of had to like take a few breaks with this one. Like it took me a while to read it because whenever I read it, I just got really sad. I think I'm just a bit too sensitive. Like, I need to calm down. It's just ink on trees, you know? The next book I read was also another book I read for the TikTok book recommendations video. So again, watch that if you want to hear more in-depth thoughts, but it was From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I rated this book 4 stars and I really did enjoy it. And it was really fun to read. I don't think I will read the next few books in the series. I think it's a trilogy. That could be totally a lie. The next book I read, I also rated 4 stars, and it was such an adorable book. I loved it. I had so much fun reading it. And that was Hani and Ishu's Guide to Fake Dating by Adaba Yagardar. I think as well I've mentioned this in another video. I feel like I've mentioned all of these books in another video. Not me going to check if I'm actually doing the right month. This book, yeah, loved it. It was so cute and it was just a really fun time. I read it all in one day because I was participating in a readathon that a few of my friends hosted. So cute, adorable, loved it so much. Go women, honestly. Then after that, I actually read a poetry collection, or a poetry book, I guess. I was kind of like halfway through it for ages, and then on a whim one day I just picked it up and started reading it. And I finished it. So that is Milk and Honey by Rupi Kaur. I think I mentioned this again before. I don't really know how to rate it, but it was really good. I liked it. And then the next book I read, I think my most previous vlog, I read this book. It was A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. I feel like I've done this video already. I keep feeling like I've done this video already, and I just realized it's because I recorded my summer book hauls and I mentioned practically all these books in it, and I was actually having a little bit of a heart attack there because I genuinely thought I had already filmed this video. So anyways, let's continue. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Yeah, so the main character is Pippa Fitzamobi, I think is her name. She has a project she has to do in school, and she ends up kind of investigating this murder that happened in her town to a girl that everyone knew. I feel like that's a good enough description because I feel like you should go in not knowing much. I enjoyed this book. It was really fun to read, and all the characters were like lovable and cute, and it was really good, and I liked the conclusion. The next book I read was actually a reread for me, and I also mentioned this in one of my vlogs, I think, and it's Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. It's the first book in the Throne of Glass series. I'm actually currently in the middle of reading Crown of Midnight, which is the second one. And I'm kind of struggling my way through Crown of Midnight, I won't lie, because for me, my favourite books in the series kind of start by Heir of Fire, and then the rest of them I love. But I'm not really the biggest fan of the first two. I was annotating this reread, and yeah, again, not much to say about it. It is one of my favourite series, and I love the books and all the characters and everything about this series so much. But the first one just isn't my favorite. So I think I actually rated it. Yeah, I rated it 4 stars this time around, because usually I actually rate them all 5. But I'm being a bit more critical with my ratings, especially on like my favorite series, because I have a tendency, like I just said with series, that I love to just rate them all 5 stars. But I actually do have certain ones that I prefer more. And I realized upon this reread, which was I think it was my 3rd reread of this book, that I actually don't like this one that much. And then the next book I read was a book I don't own physically, for good reason, honestly. 1, they're expensive as shit, and 2, the covers are a bit out there. But I actually read it on my iPad because I've seen so much hype over this series, and I was like, you know what? I'm looking for a nice romance. I'm in the mood for a romance and just an easy book to read. So I actually read The Score by Elle Kennedy, which is the 3rd book in the Off-Campus series. The reason why I read the 3rd one is because they are separate kind of books. They're all in the same kind of world, universe, I guess. And all the characters are connected and like friends with each other. So each book follows a different character. So you don't really have to read them in order or anything. And I actually started reading the first book in the series, which I think is called The Deal. I hated that. I DNF'd it because I just did not like it at all. I just know it was just really annoying me. I like hated the main male character, and I just hated the main female character. I just didn't like it. I'm sorry. I actually decided to skip the second one. I think the second one's called The Mistake, because I was watching Books with Chloe and Jamie's Library's vlogs and like their 24-hour readathons, I think, when they were still living together. Jamie was actually saying that she thought that the first one and the third one were the best out of the series, and so I decided I would skip the second one and go on to the third one, and I'm so glad I did because I actually loved this book. I rated it 4 stars and it was just such a fun read, honestly. Like, oh, it just was great. The characters are so lovable and just so cute together. The smut was top tier. Oh, it was great. It was pretty like cringe in some places and like that, but it was such a fun romance book to read and I had so much fun reading it. The last book I read last month was Catherine House by Elizabeth Thomas, and this book, I also rated this 4 stars. I don't even know how to talk about this book. I got this in the charity shop and honestly I didn't really have high hopes for it because I had heard a lot of mixed reviews about it, and so when I bought this I was kind of just really hoping that I would like it, and I'm so glad I bought it and I'm so glad I read it because it's such a weird book. Like, it's really odd and it's so immersive. Like, when I read this book I was transported into Catherine House. I was there. I was a student. But basically, what is it about? What is it about? Let me actually explain the premise of the book first, maybe. So it follows our main character. What even is her name? I forget. Is it Alex? No, Alex is Ninth House's girl's name. It's about this girl called Inez, and she gets accepted into Catherine House, which is a prestigious university that's, again, kind of like Ninth House. It's very cult-like. It's a secret society and nobody really knows what happens in Catherine House, but Catherine House births like presidents and philosophers and scientists and all these cool, amazing billionaire people. Inez is accepted into this university, and basically the university, you have to kind of give up 3 years of your life to attend, so you have no contact with the outside world, and Catherine House is your life. You live, breathe, sleep, eat Catherine House. I said that all in the wrong order, but let's ignore that. This book was just so intricate and compelling. Every single time, like I said, I picked it up, I was transported, and it really made me feel so many emotions. I don't really know how to explain it, but like, I think it also had something to do with the time in my life when I read it, because I'm actually in my last year of secondary school, but it made me feel really nostalgic because in this book all the students of Catherine House are in love with Catherine House. Catherine House is ingrained in them by the end of it. It's so hard not to fall in love with Catherine House, if you get me. And like, I don't know, I just read it, and when I read it I was just thinking about school and how it's my last year in school now, and I'm just nostalgic and like sad to leave school, and it just reminded me a lot of school and how much I love my school in particular, and it was just very nostalgic for me. I've been talking about this book for way too long, but I really loved it, and I'm sorry that I can't articulate my thoughts in an intelligent way right now, but it really just enraptures you and bends your mind. And honestly, there's no like kind of conclusion to it. I think it's a thriller book. It's like a dark academia thriller. But yeah, this book was phenomenal and I loved it so much. So that's all the books I read in August. Thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in my next one. Subscribe if you want, like and comment and tell me what you read last month, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!